I guess, yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks everybody for being here. Obviously, plenty of big updates we've got on the agenda for this as well. Lots to go through. So I'll just pass straight over and let's get kicked off. Who would like to jump in first?
Yeah, I think, thanks for that. I think I can kickstart it. Let me just, maybe take a few minutes to explain what's actually going on within the team and, where we are at with things. When we decided to actually make this announcement, we didn't sit in a room where we thought how to fuck the community members. We actually decided how do we make sure that we retain the value. And this is such a fast moving space that the suggestions and the advice we got from exchanges, from various market movers, from projects that actually have number of users, there are decisions that are made that at certain times that's not in our control. But I have said that in the very beginning, where if you look at any other layer one, from the time they go to the people until they're launched, it's a minimum of 2 years. It's not even a year with us, right? So I have said it from the very beginning that if you are not in for the long run, do not participate. Now, I've seen that a lot of community members are upset, and I understand and I get it. A lot of community members have understood, but we are all in the same boat. The technology, the protocol, the tokenomics is not different for you or for me. So if you have got vesting, the team has got vesting. And I think if you think about it logically, if there are people who are going to come into Discord at the time of token generation event, and if they're going to scroll through these messages, do you think they're going to buy your coins? So please think practically when you type in any message, when you insult someone on Discord. Everyone is working hard. The team is not rug pulling you. They haven't shut the doors on you. They are working hard to make sure that this thing is a success. Now, if the tokens are less and the value is higher, what happens? You don't have to sell that many tokens. So, and the reason we did not come on an AMA immediately is because I don't like blabber. Sit, consume, think, and move forward. Right? Okay. Now, why did we decide to do the PoX space? The decision is also in alignment with various layer ones, which is number one, increasing the number of transactions on the network. Number two, having a minimum of 1,000 nodes on the network, because there are requirements around certain areas where you need to have a minimum of 1,000 nodes. And we were aware of that 2 weeks ago, right? And number three, to make sure that we have also, released the wallet SDK so that developers can integrate the technology into their websites. We are releasing EVM compatibility so developers who do not know how to use Rust programming language can use Solidity to come and build with us. Now, the PoX space also helps us show certain traction in terms of Xtalk, because if there aren't that many nodes, if there aren't that many transactions, then what's unique about Xtalk if we can't even demonstrate this technology to the other people? So the L1X team and us, we are working very hard on the multi-chain balancer pool. These are projects in isolation that take years to build. we are building a layer one, we have built Xtalk, we have built the swap, and we are building the multi-chain balancer pool on Xtalk. Now, in terms of making sure that why is the team not focusing only on one aspect, I'll tell you what will happen. Yeah, okay. Let's say we drop everything and let's focus only on swaps to demonstrate Xtalk. Can anyone in the community promise me that they are going to bring in the liquidity and I will do it right now? So it's easy to make comments as to why is the team not focusing on this and why is the team not focusing on that without understanding the overall picture. We have to demonstrate three key areas: Xtalk, transactions, that is the scalability, and decentralization, the three tenets of any blockchain, right? Now, we have Xtalk, which we are extending into multi-chain. We have L1X identity, which is going to be combined with Xtalk, and that is where the space cards comes in, right? And we have the gaming aspects of things. These three main areas where we are trying to focus on. Now, we are trying to build a layer one. We are trying to build Xtalk and extend its capability. Because there is a lack of liquidity, okay, we build space cards so we can show identity. And because there is a lack of people who are going to trust identity, we are building the gaming contracts so that there is scalability. So tell me, what am I doing wrong here? Right? So at this point in time, there are decisions being made to push these things. Okay, with the auditing process, do you know that it takes $500,000 to $1 million to get a code audit? So we want to give it for audit. We have given it for audit to Hashlock. The contracts that are going to be made open sourced to the people that is going to be audited by Hashlock. Now, until and unless the projects are up and running, we cannot give the main code to audit because we don't have multiples of $500,000 to $1 million to keep on for that audit process. So the token generation event and the audit is going to go hand in hand, where before the token generation event, the audit will be completed, right? And 1 week before the token generation event, we will open up the node hosting to the people so that you can come in and host your nodes. If we have assumed and we have actually believed that the opinion that we have received requires these things to be implemented, we only had two choices. One is go with the Hail Mary, sing Hail Mary and believe that everything is going to be fine one day. And second one is make hard decisions and move forward. The team has never sang Hail Mary and delegated their job to God. We have taken up responsibility and we have moved forward. So, and I am not that guy who will come in and say good things about it because I want you to go and like my Twitter. I couldn't care less. I don't care. But what I care about is the overall vision of this foundation. We are building products that demonstrate that. We are trying to solve problems with the resources we have in hand. It is good to be upset. I understand. But you have to understand that if there are people who come on Discord and see these messages, they are not going to buy your coin. So please be smart about it.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in there as well, just to kind of echo what Kevin's saying. I think, and look, firstly, thank you for everyone turning up today. I think it's great that we've got a great attendance today. And just for those who don't, for those who can't make it, we'll definitely record this as well. But so when in making this decision, just like Kevin said, what has been at the forefront of any decision, this decision or any decision that we make, is the long-term health of the protocol. And if we keep that at the front of our minds in terms of the long-term health of the protocol, then we know with that mentality always, then we know that we all will succeed. And when I say we all will succeed, it means that community, investors, projects, protocol will succeed. And I think it's also, and kudos to some of the community as well. because some of the changes we are implementing, we also know that some of the community members have requested, right? So from the advice that we're given, and it wasn't just one or two parties. It was strategic partners, it was projects, it was CXs, it was market making partners, it was a whole range of people, where we went through all these different scenarios. And what was at the forefront of our mind when we're making this decision is what is for the best for the long-term health of the protocol. And I think with the technology that we have, the innovative technology, there's always that adoption phase. And I think the implementation, what we believe with the implementation of the PoX phase, where we can generate adoption, on-chain transactions, showcase the interoperability, the core of the technology initially through the swaps, and then through the onboarding of other projects onto the platform, not just pre-TGE, but also post-TGE, because that's where the PoX phase, the implementation of the PoX phase, and then the adaptation of the tokenomics allow for that adoption to take place on very innovative technology, pre and post TGE. And today we'll go through, we'll talk about what is the PoX phase, what are the components within the PoX phase that are going to promote those on-chain transactions, what is the marketing behind that to allow us now that we're closing the public sale and having that gap between that and TGE. And I know a few community members have mentioned this as well. That's a valuable time for us to start pushing the marketing. We'll talk more about that as well, what we're going to do with the marketing. We'll talk about the partnerships. We'll talk about the tokenomics and really kind of educate everyone on why this decision is made, why these changes, and why we see that ultimately, once again, at the forefront of our mind, why this is best for the long-term health of the protocol and everyone involved. And so just to echo Kevin's sentiments in terms of there's key things that we're delivering within this PoX phase that we know will be able to increase the traction on chain. And the PoX phase is built to do that, and beyond TGE as well. And so just for the community members, this is really going to be a session just to educate you on why the changes and what those changes are, and to understand why those changes have been made with pretty much the protocol always at the forefront of our mind. And so what I think we'll do is let's go through we'll go through what that PoX phase is, right? And we'll talk about what are the components there in terms of that, because Kevin's right, there needs to be health within the ecosystem at a TGE phase, and some of all of these components add to the health, whether it's onboarding of projects, whether it's showcasing the main use case, which is the swaps, or whether it's allowing for more awareness so we can push more people through to the interoperability so they can realize how revolutionary this tech is. So I think it's probably best to let's start off with the PoX phase and from the development. I know all of the team's been working. I mean, we always do work extremely hard, but even harder over the last couple of weeks to set up this PoX phase to ensure that we've got key components in there where we can grow traction, because that's the feedback we've got: grow more traction, get more adoption of the technology. So maybe if we could start there. I know some of the thanks, Kevin. Cheers.
So as I mentioned, there are three main areas of the PoX phase that we are focusing on. So the first one is increasing the number of transactions. Now, to increase the number of transactions, we have two ways to do that. One is increase the number of projects or increase the depth of that specific project. And to keep things limited with the amount of resources we have, we are going to focus on the DEX, which is the multi-chain balancer pool, and that will in turn bring in liquidity on the protocol. So we will have that product sometime in the next few weeks. The second one is the gaming side of things. Now, on the gaming side of things, as you all are aware, that we already have gaming contracts that has reduced the development time of games from around 3 to 4 months to less than 3 weeks. So now that we can actually go and build these games out, we are working with Diga Arcade to have these games ready so that there will be more transactions coming from there as well. And the third one is the space cards, which is going to increase the number of transactions through identity management. Now, this week, we are going to release the L1X app version 2 to certain username holders. And if we combine the best of these three things, we are using Xtalk, we are using the L1X VM, and we are using the available consensus and the nodes to make sure that the protocol is secure. With the swaps that we currently have, we are fixing the bugs as the community members have pointed them out, and we are fixing that, and that requires a bit of time. So, however good we may be with the development side, certain testing has to be done in the real world. Only then we can solve those bugs. So that's what we are focusing on. Now, if we try to do these three things in the next few weeks, I think it opens up, the opportunity for transactions that have to be processed with the same level of scalability. So in order to do this, we are going to make sure that the PoX phase, we reach the number of targets on the nodes that we have. And that's why we have increased the number of nodes. So people get an opportunity to come in and get these nodes, because without these nodes, we don't tick a lot of, boxes. It could be from centralized exchanges, it could be from market movers, it could be from certain projects that we would like to have on board. It could be from partnerships, with certain cloud service providers that we are trying to get. So increasing the number of nodes in this PoX space is going to help us actually increase the transactions with the same level of scalability. Xtalk has been out there for a few months now, and unlike bridges, that come with a lot of security loopholes, at least one good thing that has happened out of Xtalk, according to me, is that people have tried to get into that system because we can see the server logs and according to this, it's still secure. So now we can go in and use that same engine at multiple different places, which we are already building, right? These things take time. Now, we should have done this from August, let's say, until now, and we are doing that. I mean, we did release the Xtalk system for the swaps, the multi-chain staking, but this is not a website that I can spin up on WordPress and have it out there, week after week. This takes time. So please be patient with this. In order for making sure that these three focus areas, trickle down into the development area, we are releasing the L1X Wallet SDK that has been made more accessible to everyday developers so that they can come in and build and integrate, the wallet directly into the websites if they use any of the features of L1X. The second one is we are releasing the Ethereum virtual machine L1X EVM compatible binaries so that developers with Solidity can come and build and use the Wallet SDK. We are also open sourcing certain Xtalk contracts so that, if the developers are there and they want to go and build a cross-chain swap, they want to build cross-chain NFT, they can leverage these already existing contracts, copy paste them, change a few things around, and then you can go and deploy. Now, the other thing is we also have the PoX space, net or the DevNet, where developers have the opportunity to come and build on the local net, that is their local system, or they can go and deploy on the PoX space net, which is the testnet kind of environment. And this one will be rolled into the mainnet when the TGE, happens. So I think making sure that the PoX space, we can increase the number of nodes, keeping it available for people to actually even get them, making sure that the transactions increase, making sure that it's easier for developers to build. These things were in motion from August onwards. But as I said, certain layer ones take at least 2 years to even come out of this phase. But we are pretty confident that the developers coming in should be able to copy paste these contracts and have it on their own while we go and build the L1X or release the L1X, the gaming side of things, and the identity management through space cards.
Awesome. I think that gives a good overview of a lot of the changes. And I know obviously we had the docs released out there as well for everybody to review, and it's good to be able to go through those. If you've got questions, there are a lot of stuff answered in there too, inside those docs, of how things are currently working now on, etc. Spark, I saw you had your mic off. Did you want to jump back in?
Yeah, look, I think I see a couple of questions that we can go over from the community that's popping up here on the chat. One is why make the decision now and not earlier? And the other question that I can see there is, how can the community get confidence that with the new changes that we will be, able to launch in March? I think those are a couple of the ones I've seen there.
Yep. I might jump in on the to cover off the CEX side. So to give our community members an idea of the amount of work involved in that, we actually started talking to the CEXs last year, probably even before the middle of last year. Every single exchange came back to us and said, when you're a couple of weeks out from launch, then we'll go through the process. So we kept talking to them and kept updating them on our progress. They were very, very positive, and we've been talking to probably, in fact, in excess of about 15 different CEXs. Now, what happened was probably about 2 weeks ago, as the process was unfolding, they came back with a lot of questions that we had to go through, and the forms and things that we had to fill in has been absolutely huge. The feedback from them is that they wanted to start seeing more traction and exposure. And also we have to look at the actual application process, the onboarding, the amount of work that's involved for Kevin and the developers to actually do that onboarding process into the CEXs. The feedback that they gave us, and also our partners and strategic advisors, etc., is that they wanted some changes to a number of things, including tokenomics, etc. And that meant that we had to go back. So to give you an idea, Spark and I and Kevin and Crypto Norton, the whole team have been on calls anything up to 18 hours a day, leading up to making these decisions, or in meetings and going through it. We don't take any decision that we make in this area lightly. We go through it in every possible detail. Now, to give you an idea, obviously we've got projects out there. We've got things like Diga Labs, we've got on-chain, we've got the L1X, and we've got a huge number of other projects sitting in the pipeline. The only way we can achieve those is to actually provide a self-onboarding process. The amount of time required to manually onboard a project is huge. We had to have a learning curve to understand what each of those projects needed. Now, Kevin is working through the final stages of that self-onboarding process, which will make life a lot easier for those projects, and also chains. We are talking to a significant number of exchanges as well, to actually do that listing. In addition to those, we've also got a lot of DEXs out there now. We're talking via the L1X team to DEXs on just every single chain that we're connected to, and I've got the list sitting here in front of me, and it's currently sitting at about 120 odd different DEXs that they're talking to. So whilst we'll have the CEXs, and we've actually got, obviously we've got MEXC, we've actually got a tier 1 that is sitting there. We're just going through that final stage of agreement discussions at the moment. And we've also got another tier 2 as well. So we'll have 2 tier 2s and a tier 1 exchange for when we list. They're looking very good. It's also quite expensive to list, because it's not only the onboarding costs, there's also a need for to pay for marketing on those CXs. And also security deposits. We also need to provide liquidity for them as well. And so we've got to go through that whole process and allocate funds accordingly, and be very, very strategic in that. We can go out there and list probably on another 10 plus tier 3 exchanges, but for what benefit? What we want are those CEXs that actually give us the best traction and the best exposure to the market. What that translates to for our community is probably the being able to push and market and get the best value for the launch with our coin price, and that's really what we're after. So in creating, jumping back to also the project side again, is creating the dev self-onboarding pack is going to make it a lot easier and faster. And as Kevin alluded to before, instead of it taking months, we can get that time down to weeks, if not days, to do that onboarding for all those various projects. And yes, we've got over, I think, I haven't counted them lately, but 100 odd projects that are sitting there ready to go. I've got just the words from one particular project I thought I'd just read out to you that Mark was explaining to me earlier, and I'm mind blown. And that's in answer to to the question I posed to them about what would it mean to you guys if you're able to go cross-chain without having to use a bridge, for example, from ETH, BSC, Sol, and then to their particular chain, truly decentralized. Their comment back, in terms of investor or KOL targeting alone, it changes the way projects will do everything. That's the dream: seamless movement across all chains. So what Kevin and the dev team have produced here is something the market demands. Yes, we're going to get those small delays and things like that. Yes, it's going to create FUD, but what we're asking the community is that they take on board what we're trying to achieve here in the long term. It's huge. It's something that blockchain has not seen before, this capability. And it's something that we need to actually get out there, and we could sit here and talk on Discord and answer all the questions, and we will. But the key is that how do we get out there? And Spark will go through that very shortly with you. When you look at all the other capabilities that we're bringing on board, Kevin's talked about the wallet, the balancer pool. As Kevin said, that is actually a massive project in its own right. Producing the L1X, the multi-chain balancer. Onboarding gaming, onboarding on-chain for the decentralized identity. They are all huge pieces of work that require a lot of effort. So they're the things that we need to showcase the capabilities of L1X. And we've not shied away from it. We will take it on the chin. And yes, we'll deal with it with any negative feedback. But every single decision we make is based on supporting our community, supporting their investments, and making sure that we get that exposure that we need out there.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, guys. So just somewhat for what Chief's saying, so when we first got the initial feedback, say from exchanges around building more traction, we didn't take that as gospel. So we've been talking to many different parties, like I said before, partners, projects, advisors, market making advisors, all those to get a range of advice back from them to ensure that whatever decision we made was for the health of the protocol. And so we got that feedback. We started to get that feedback only recently, and that's why we've been 24/7 in going through all the different scenarios, analyzing the feedback, and hence why the decision's been made so close to launch, because we've been working with that feedback. Ultimately, like, we don't want to move a date, and we don't want to. And I think one of the other questions in the chat is that, how do we know that that we're not going to move another date again? And we don't want to. Once again, we don't want to move the date again from the new changes. So we have to look at this and go, right, what needs to happen to provide a healthy environment for that to take place? And look, I understand that, like, some of the community, the way that you will gain trust in us, that these changes will work and they will launch, will just be through our actions. We can talk today and we can kind of answer questions, but I would say it'll be through our actions and what we've kind of set ourselves up to do to ensure some of the milestones are hit, so we can actually have this healthy TGE. But I suppose that's why we've got the PoX and we've got the tokenomics. We've looked at both of those, so we can cover both of those angles in terms of what are we going to do and what are we going to implement up until TGE. And Kevin and Chief have already gone through, some of the key components that we're going to do there in terms of, the code and bringing people on board. But what happens after TGE? How do we ensure that there's also an adoption phase after TGE? And that's where the tokenomics play in, where the adjusted tokenomics emissions allow for more growth and more on-chain transaction. Because we know some projects will get the tech, they'll test, they'll deploy. But because it's quite unique, some of the projects, there will be a learning curve in terms of when they go, they test code, they want to understand more about it. So, we don't want to just rely on what is achieved prior to the TGE. We want to ensure that there's also room for adoption after the TGE. And so that's why when we look at this I suppose the basic question is, how can we trust that, these new changes are going to be implemented, we're going to launch? The simple answer to that is, that's why we've got PoX phase. That's why we're implementing those things. And that's why we've adjusted the tokenomics to after the TGE to allow space for the adoption to grow as well. More on-chain transactions, more, it's a utility coin, more utility, and also, more intense utility where, let's say, there's one particular utility that gets intense usage. So we're trying to build out those on-chain transactions pre and post TGE, hence why we're focused on PoX and we're focused on tokenomics to ensure that we can go, right, we're covering all the bases we can see, so we can actually roll out this plan and then we can launch in March. And so, and once again, that's the answer. But I think part of the trust will be built with the community as we start to implement these certain things. When we get testnet out there, when we start to, we're running, and I'll go through some of the things now we're doing around marketing as well. But when the community see these things coming out, when we get another centralized exchange, when we do all these things, then I suppose those will be the milestones, the actions, the results that will then also give the community the faith that, okay, yep, it wasn't just words, these guys are delivering. Because, and just so you know, I think the expectations of ourselves personally are just as high or maybe even higher than the community has for us, because we have a full belief in this project and we're here for the long term. So, but let me go through some of the, look, I hope that's answered some of the key questions. Why would you, Chief, you go, jump in.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to interrupt and just to add another one in there for just to answer one of the other questions there around testnet. So we've always had L1X testnet available. What Kevin and the dev team have done is actually expanded on that, and for any of the community that has been involved in any major IT type or technology projects, there is actually a number of essential components in there. So what Kevin and the devs have done is actually provided what we call local net, which means that those devs and projects that want to build actually have a local machine version. We've also got DevNet, which is basically moving on to chain. We've also got testnet available, and we're enhancing those features, and then obviously MainNet. The whole purpose behind there is that we needed to go through the onboarding of a number of projects first, including L1X and Diga Labs and all those, and to actually understand what that process involved, how much work, who needed to do what when, and that has enabled Kevin and the team to actually start producing that self-onboarding pack. So that's where we're at with those as well. And the test nets are absolutely crucial. All those various development test environments are crucial for those projects. And being able to do that in a self-onboarding fashion will actually make life a lot easier and enable us to actually handle the volume of projects that want to come on board. Like I said, I read out before some of the words coming back from one of the projects on a very interesting chain that we've got coming up. And it's a matter of us just putting them into the pipeline about when we're going to connect that particular chain and those projects. And then we start seeing all the others coming on board with the DEXs, etc. And I'll pass back to Spark now. Sorry, I just need to throw that in there.
No, thanks, Chief. Thanks. So I suppose, just to kind of summarize on those two major questions, why the decision now? We've received the feedback. We recently, we then went to multiple different parties to analyze their feedback. We've collated the feedback and we've made a decision as a team, albeit close to launch, that what's best for the health of the protocol are these changes. And so that's why the decision wasn't made earlier, because we've just received that feedback there. We sought that feedback, and then we've made that decision. The other question around the precedent set and launching and how can the community trust that we're actually going to launch in March? The answer to that is that we feel that we're confident in terms of achieving the on-chain transaction proof of X phase, and then updating the emissions of the tokenomics after the TGE to also allow more room for growth on-chain as well. So we can see both of those angles being covered to then give us confidence. In terms of a specific date in March, what we want to do is that once the testnet up, the actual date in March and specific date will need to be analyzed later. Once we know we've got testnet up, we're getting usage, we've got enough room in the testnet for people to test and deploy up until the launch date in March. And also, the marketing campaign has enough time to get traction over the airdrop phase, but also pre-launch as well. So we will have a specific date in March, but there's key components there that we want to give enough time to. Once we know they're up, they're running, analyze how much time they need, and then we can pick that specific date in March. In terms of from the marketing side of it, there's a few different things that we're going to be doing from the marketing perspective. So from the marketing perspective, firstly, the airdrop campaign. So we've been running the current airdrop campaign. Everyone who has participated in the airdrop campaign from December and January will still be allocated points in the airdrop. So please don't feel like, we appreciate your early contributions on there, and we'll be collating those points up, and we'll be releasing those points probably sometime in February in terms of what's been earned over that time. And then you'll also be able to earn more points through the airdrop campaign that we'll be releasing in February. The new airdrop campaign that we'll be focusing on, and just so you know, for the winner of the 500,000 tokens, that'll be announced, I believe, Friday. So that is still on, and that will still be announced, and that will still be given away. Those particular 500,000 coins will be put on the same vesting period as Platinum, which is 3-month cliff and 24-month vesting. Now the new airdrop campaign will have a very simple focus. Predominantly, the main focus that we want is for people to come in and try the swaps. We feel that, and as Kevin said, they'll be working on the swaps, and we'll be testing to ensure that when people come on and use those swaps, they're incentivized for an airdrop campaign to come on and use those swaps. But when they use the swaps, they realize, why would I go anywhere else to do my swaps? So the call to action and the carrot to enter will be the airdrop, but what makes them stay is efficient swaps, and we'll be working with those swaps so they'll be slick, and they'll be basically attracting those people in the airdrop campaign to then continue to use those swaps on, and that will also build on-chain transactions. So that's the airdrop campaign. More details on the airdrop campaign will be released soon, and we'll be looking to roll that out in February, the new airdrop campaign. With the KOL campaign, we've already got one definite marketing partner that we're working with on that, and we're about to lock in a second one as well. The key for the KOL campaign, there'll be two kind of rounds of campaign, if I can call them that. One would be the airdrop promotion, so promoting people and using the KOLs and of course our own internal channels as well to promote the airdrop, so get people in and using these swaps, because at this point in time, that's the best showcase of the interoperability. And so that'll be the first round, promoting the airdrops and then moving people onto these swaps to use the swaps. Prior to the launch, we'll also be running an intensive a KOL campaign 2 weeks prior to launch. And why that 2-week period? That 2-week period is probably your ideal period where you can start to promote, build up the hype, build up the awareness, and then launch. So 2 weeks is probably anything longer than 2 weeks before launch. If you're focusing specifically on the launch, is probably too long and people get disinterested. So we're going to run a KOL campaign. Will focus on promoting the airdrop and get people using. Once they're in using the swaps, they can see how beneficial and how I suppose the improved experience versus anything else. And then we'll be moving into a campaign prior to launch, 2 weeks prior to launch. We'll be promoting the launch itself with the KOL. And so we've already locked in the first marketing partner. We'll probably lock in the other one today or tomorrow. And so we'll be focusing on that. So we'll be doing our own internal marketing, and we'll also be rolling that the KOL campaign out as well. The other end point of that is obviously we'll be working with partners. So we'll be doing collab marketing as well. So we've already got a couple of partners that we want to work with for collab marketing, whether they be projects that want to onboard, or whether they just be another project on another chain that that basically wants to use our interoperability, but part of that co-marketing will benefit both of our communities. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be releasing some press releases as well over that time, and also AMAs during that time as well. Once again, in mind to running 2 waves of campaign. The first wave of campaign will be focused on the airdrop and bringing people into the swaps. It's the best use case of the technology, the core technology interoperability at this point. And then the second wave of campaign will be to promote the launch itself 2 weeks prior to the launch and building the hype up around that. So from the marketing perspective, that's our focus there. And once again, guys, this is all the confidence that we'll build in the community as you see these things roll out, right? Seeing is believing. And so as you see these things roll out, you'll start to see the traction that we're getting through the things that we've implemented over the PoX phase. I think, is there anything else, Michael, Kevin, you want to cover maybe before I go into the tokenomics and the experts?
No, I think we can go through that, and maybe we can go through the community questions as well to answer them directly.
Yeah, great. So let me, because this will probably raise a few more questions as well, guys. So bear with me as I go through the tokenomics and the experts, and then we can go through and answer the questions as well. And I know for some of you, you already understand the changes. This is more so for the people that don't understand the changes. I want to speak to everybody here so everyone gets a good idea of what these changes are and how they work. So let me firstly go through the tokenomics themselves. So the tokenomics, and just going back to what I said before, this is 2 major focuses in ensuring that we get adoption, we get on-chain transaction. One is the PoX phase components that we've talked about. The other one is the tokenomics. How do the tokenomics play in to getting more adoption? Once the TGE starts, and with the new updated emission schedule for the tokenomics, it gives more room for on-chain usage to grow prior to any serious emissions, because as you emit a token, you want utility there, you want usage there. So what we want to do is we want to build the utility with the emissions with the emissions release, and we feel that these tokenomics allow us to do that post TGE. And so it's the tokenomics changes that I'll go through now, and bear with me for some of you that already understand the tokenomics changes, but let me go through them. So firstly, the tokenomics changes I'll go through are the vesting schedules. And I'll probably explain for some of the kind of newcomers here exactly what some of this terminology means. And so when we look at, so if I talk about what is vesting, what is a cliff? A cliff is a period of time where the tokens are not released. Right? A cliff is a period of time prior to the first tokens being released. So really it's a period of time where there is no token release. And then from a vesting period is the period of time when the tokens will be released. And over what period of time will be determined by the particular pool. So for example, when I look at a cliff, I look at the team pool first. That is now a 6-month cliff where it was no cliff prior. So that is a 6-month cliff, and that is 24 months investing of vesting from that's after the cliff. So 6 months of no token release and 24 months of vesting after that. The vesting in particular is graded vesting, where the emissions start at a slower scale, and that scale builds up. So a higher percentage of the emissions get released further into the vesting period. And so that graded vesting is on that 24 months and is on every vesting within the allocation to all of the pools. And so the second one is the private and seed. So private and seed pool, now the private and seed pool, which seed round bought at, I think it was 8.5 cents or 8.6 cents, private round bought in at 10 cents. Private and seed will now go through the XPEX program. The XPEX program is being updated. The benefits to the XPEX program in terms of bonus percentage, the benefits in terms of Launchpad, the benefits in terms of giveaways, the benefits in terms of Alpha Room, all those benefits remain. It's just what happens now is that we've introduced a cliff period of 3 months and then a vesting period of either 24, 18, or 15 months. In terms of the XPEX, we will reset the XPEX, so people now giving the new changes can go in and make another decision. For those people who have gone into XPEX, and there's a lot of people that have gone into XPEX, 87% of all people have gone into Platinum and Gold. What we will do is we will reset your ability to make your decision, and then we'll release the process in February, and there'll be plenty of time. You'll be given plenty of time to be able to go in and make this decision. But the decision is mandatory. You must go in and you must choose one of the XPerks tiers. Silver XPerks, Gold XPerks, and Platinum XPerks all have a 3-month cliff, which is once again a period where there is no token release. After that, Platinum has a 24-month vesting period. XPerks Gold has a 18-month vesting period, and XPerks Silver has a 15-month vesting period. It is up to the private and seed investors on which pool they feel that is going to best suit their needs. And now, even if you have already opted in, you'll get the choice to make that decision again, given the new changes. For the public sale round, they will also have the option. It's their choice if they want to go into XPerks. But for the public sale round, that has no cliff. So tokens will be released from day one, but they will be released over a 4-month vesting period. So the 4-month vesting period will happen on day one and will be released daily amounts over that 4-month period. And then the bonuses from XPerks. So when the private and seed go into XPerks, there's obviously bonus coins associated. So those bonuses also remain. 20% bonus for Platinum, 15% bonus for Gold, and 12% bonus for Silver. What that means for the bonuses as well, they have a similar cliff to the XPerks, which is a 3-month, but their bonus vesting is 4 months. So let's say I take a look at, let's say, just speaking directly to the private and seed guys, if I'm going into Platinum and I'm getting 20% extra bonus coins that have a 3-month cliff investing, it means my average buy-in price has now reduced by roughly 20%. Basically, if you bought in at 10 cents, your average buy-in price now, if you go into Platinum, over that period is about 8.5 cents. Seed, once again, is reduced. In fact, any pool that private and seed go into, whether it's Silver, Gold, or Platinum, the average buy-in price, because of the bonus tokens they're allocated, will be reduced. And so with the bonus tokens, whether that's 20%, 15%, or 12%, those will be vested over 4 months. So from month 4, you will be getting your XPerks vesting, which is either 24, 18, or 15. So you'll be getting that in month 4, so that will start. Plus your bonus tokens vesting will start in month 4 as well. And the bonus tokens will be vested only over a 4-month period. Now, what this allows for is that, and I think when I go through each of these pools, you see that there is no pool that is unaffected from this. There is no pool. And what we've tried to do within these pools is, one, as always, keep the health of the protocol front of mind, and trying to, where everyone is being changed, trying to organize that where, okay, yes, there is a cliff on private and seed, but let's reset their options so you can go back in and choose Silver, Gold, or Platinum. Whatever you choose, there is bonus coins available to you that will be started to vest in month 4 with the other tokens as well. So there's the benefit there to the private and seed of the bonus coins, but yes, you are cliffing and you are choosing a vesting period. The public sale pool, yes, you are vesting. Rather than getting all your coins at TGE, yes, you are vesting over the first 4 months. For the first 90 days of that vesting period, where the majority of your coins will vest daily, it will be you that will be holding the coins. From all of the pools, you will be the ones that will be holding the coins in the first 90 days. And so then if someone wants to buy those coins, they've got to buy them off you, right? Now, what these emissions allow is, now it allows for, because of these reduced emissions over the early stages, it allows for more utility, more use case, more on-chain transactions to build up over these early stages. So we cover off what we're doing in the pre-TGE through a testnet, through marketing, through partnerships, through all these things that we're doing. And also we allow room for on-chain growth after the TGE through these new tokenomics distributions. And so in terms of the tokenomics, that's the overview, right, of the tokenomics in terms of the changes we have made, each of the changes to the different pools, and why now the new emissions are the way they are, is to allow us more time at the beginning to be able to build up adoption of this technology in those early stages. Everyone is affected, from the team to the private and seed, to the public. Everyone is affected, and the effects always at the forefront of our mind. These changes, why we have done these changes, is for the health of the protocol for everybody: community, investor, projects, and protocol itself. Now, from the investment standpoint, what this allows, if we can increase adoption over this period and use case over this period and more utility for the token. L1X is a utility token. Its value is derived by its utility. So allowing a phase pre-TGE and post-TGE for that utility to build up, now that we have the testnet, now that we're doing all these other things in PoX phase and more projects can onboard at the early stages, it means that we allow more utility to grow as these new emissions emit. And so we're trying to match the utility with the emissions so they can basically go hand in hand and complement each other to maintain a value within the protocol. I know I talked a lot, and I know I've said a lot there, and you probably have to go back through the recording. I apologize. But if there's any questions around the tokenomics, I'm more than happy to answer some of those. Now, I did actually get some of the. Let me just. Okay. So yeah.
Sorry to jump in, Spark. I just thought if we could do it like this, if there's specific, because I've been trying to keep up with the questions and stuff too, which is a bit of a flood.
Oh,
but
please, yeah.
If you have specific questions now about tokenomics specifically, can you put them in the chat, and then that way, as they come up, Spark can field them. That might make it easier, and we can go through in like sections.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so throw those in those now. Even if you've asked it before, throw it in there now, guys, specifically around the tokenomics, and we can move on to each topic as we go. Throw those in the chat.
Yeah, and if you can see any, Joe, that I miss or anything like that, just let me know, or if any of the guys can see any. Let me cover off a couple of questions that I think I've already kind of picked from the community anyway. One of them is how much time do investors have to make a decision about the vesting and proceed? So our aim is to basically have everyone, the goal is to have everyone through the expert program selection by TGE. And so what we want to do is that so there's development work about that needs to take place in resetting the experts and setting up the structure so to have everyone go back through experts. So that will take time. Once that's up and that's running, the instructions will be released to everybody, and we want to give it plenty of time for everyone to be able to go through that experts program prior to TGE. For seed and private investors, yes, we have a little bit more time if there's anyone struggling or anyone doesn't quite understand after TGE, because there is a 3-month cliff there. But our ultimate aim is to have everyone through the experts program selection by TGE. Public sale can still select if they wish to, if they prefer to go in there rather than do the public sale vesting. They have the option to do that as well. But that's our main aim, to have everyone through by TGE. In terms of the one of the other questions, I think I answered this, but now that there's been changes made, will we have the opportunity to make another decision? Absolutely, you will. We will reset your ability to make a choice. Now that you understand the new landscape, you can go back in and make another decision, whether that's a different decision or the same decision. That is completely up to you guys on what you choose to do. Do seed and private investors have to go through the experts program? Yes, they do. Public sale guys have a choice, but seed and private, yes, you go through the expert program. You get your bonuses, whatever expert level you choose, in terms of bonus coins, but also the perks. With the experts program, we have no intention of opening that. We haven't even considered opening up the experts program after TGE yet. It may happen at some date, but it's not even on our roadmap. So at some stage, we may look to open experts down the road for after TGE. But at this point in time, experts will only be available to anyone before TGE. So this is an exclusive period. And we're more than happy to give an exclusive period for those people in experts that need to go in prior to TGE, that you have your own. You have your own exclusive period. sorry, let me go a question. I have one question about tokenomics. What is the vesting schedule of others in the tokenomics, which is 60% of supply, and how's it exactly going to be used? Great question. And so in terms of the, so from the treasury pools, in terms of, I think that's the others. So it's split amongst growth pool, it's split amongst validator pool, developer pool, marketing pool, advisor pool, and with the advisor and the marketing pool with Cliffs. So how will those be used during the period in terms of post TGE, or what are the plans for the usage of those? Really, the only key emissions that I can see coming from those pools will be the validator pool, where the validator pool coins will be used to help support the rewards for validators and those staking on the nodes as the transactions build. So the validator there is to add extra support for rewards as they're emitted for node hosters and for single stakers on the nodes, while the traction builds up on chain, and then ultimately the transaction fee generation themselves will just take over from that, with there is no requirement for the validator pool to support, to add extra support to the emissions. So that's where I can see the majority of where that whole treasury for in the early stages. The validator pool will probably be the main pool that will be used to not only reward stakers and node hosters, but to incentivize people to host a node and to stake to secure the consensus mechanism post TGE. Okay, so the other question from Benny, why the significant change? I'm just reading them here. Just let me know if I've missed anything, Joe. Why is the significant change in the vesting for private? This is a major change to promises made earlier and adds years of vesting timeframe. Okay, so I think going back to the significant changes, I'd probably say everyone in every pool could ask the same question: why the significant changes? Because if you look from the, and just so you know, I'm a seed and I'm a public investor, so I can get those two perspectives. So the public sale guys could ask the same question: why are we now vesting for 4 months, right? And so the answer to that is, I go back to allowing more on-chain adoption post TGE with the emission schedule. And if you think about it in terms of the value of the coin, if the value of the coin is derived from its utility, and we have a period where there is more room for growth of that utility, with the new emission schedule, then it means that the growth and the value of the utility, or the value of the coin, because of that increase in utility, will also be supported as well. So for example, if we were to go and with the initial launch, and we didn't have the utility that we would have by introducing a PoX phase, and we have the old tokenomics, it means we have greater emissions and less utility. What that means is that the value per coin is less than what these new changes actually provide. And that's the reason why and I go back to this again, and I know I'm repeating myself, but always at the front of our decision is what is best for the long-term value of the protocol. Because if we always come from that angle, then we know it's best for community, we know it's best for projects, and ultimately we know it's best for investors. Me being a seed and public investor, I look at it from that perspective as well, that I know that these changes, because I have a long-term view, and I think majority of the community do. 87% of the community went into platinum and gold, and I think that speaks volumes in terms of the mindset of the community. But also from the private and seed investor holders, the public sale guys are taking a 4-month vest. Private and seed, yes, you go into XPEX, but we're going to reset that. So if you went into platinum, you can now, and you don't want to go into platinum, you want to go into gold, you have that choice. If you went into silver and now you want to go into platinum, you have that choice. If you went into gold and you now want to go into silver, you now have the choice. Why the cliff? And why the vesting period? The vesting periods are the same in terms of the amount of months that they vest. The graded vesting allows for more on-chain growth because it's now graded. The cliff allows for more on-chain growth. With the private and seed, you also get bonus coins. And as I said before, if you're looking at the average value, if you say going into a platinum level, then your average value of the coins that you've purchased dropped to about 8.5. sense. If you're going into, and it's even less for seed, right? If you're going into silver and gold, your average value will still drop as well. But the significant changes are not just with the private and seed; it's across the whole spectrum. But I understand from a private and seed investor perspective, because I am one, that the reason for these changes, and the ultimate reason where I go back to, is to allow the protocol adoption and for the emissions to create room for that, right? To create room for the utility to build as the emissions come in.
I got a question here. I just don't want it to get lost. It's a fair way back up. What will happen to user assets if private sale participants do not select an XPerks tier to stake into? What happened to the tokens? Are they locked?
Nothing will happen to the tokens until they select a tier.
Yeah, I think just to add a little bit more, clarity on that. One of the way is, when we have to do the token generation event, the nodes and the validators will, they will come together and they can vote whether they want to lift up or not. Now, this is something that we are trying to implement. And what happens in this case is, if you want your wallet address to be a part of the whitelisted accounts, the XP becomes a prerequisite, because only then does the protocol understand what vesting and what allocation you need to be provided. So if you do not go through the experts, the validators and the node hosting providers will not know what to do with your account. Basically, if you try to do a transfer and if it does not recognize your account in the whitelisted addresses, then you will not be able to do anything with your tokens. So please make sure that you select any of these options.
And what we'll do is, obviously, once the experts are reset, we'll issue instructions. We'll have a video, a demonstration video as well, so it's very clear exactly what you guys need to do when you're selecting your experts tier.
Another question I've got here, just to jump in. So let me just read this right, so I've got it framed right. The L1X will require ownership of L1X tokens to support investors, adding liquidity to the LPs. If everybody in the private, public, etc., is vested or locked for a period of time on launch, we're expecting that there will be liquidity in the L1X of L1X. Who's providing that? How does it get there? What does that look like?
I think let's stick to the L1X Foundation. That will be in another AMA. We don't want to confuse things further.
Yeah, and with the DEX, so just so you know, we're working closely with the DEX guys as well. So for the PoX phase, and so all of those answers, the process and what's happening there will come through the announcement from the DEX guys. We don't want to announce anything on their behalf, but that will come with us supporting the DEX guys and them supporting us with the PoX phase.
Tag me if I've missed any questions in the chat, guys. It's I'm trying to keep up, but it's a lot. I see there's others. There's plenty of questions there. Is there any specifically around tokenomics that I've missed? Not that I can see. Can we learn more about the others in tokenomics, which is 60% of the total supply, the vesting plan, and the usage of these tokens? I think Spark covered a little bit of that. Is there more in depth to that? Or, yeah, like I said, I think you covered a little bit of that. Could you list all the tokens that would be liquid at launch?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yes.
we are working on increasing the utility of the Explorer, and every specific address will be in the blocks. So if there are any token holders, including the team, We will, it's all going to be visible in the block as well. And once you use the Explorer or even the node validators or the people who are going to host their own nodes, we are having our own API system for indexing these nodes. So nothing is going to be hidden. Everything is going to be transparent.
Yeah, and just to add to what Kevin said there, so basically you have the public sale pool. Yes, liquidity will need to be provided to centralized exchanges. We'll know more on what those amounts are as we finalize the centralized exchanges that Chief's working on. And the only other thing I can see there would be the emissions from the validator pool as well. As people go to stake or they're hosting nodes, those emissions will form part of the circ supply as well. So those are the main areas that that liquidity will be on the market.
Another question here around, so if all of a person's coins are cliffed or vested, etc., on day one, with the exception of buying more L1X on the public, how will they use the network for the 30 months with their entire amount locked up?
Yeah, I think from the tokenomics side, I think Spark can answer that. But if it comes to the usability, one of the things that we have mentioned in the gig book, and please use that as the central source of knowledge. Rather than asking questions to mods and getting the answers, please go and read it over there so you get a complete picture. I know it's a little bit of work, but you have invested, so I would, I would make sure that you get the right information from there, or the complete information. Now, in terms of the coins, there will be certain gasless transactions that we will be allowing for. And these kind of transactions are just to make sure that everyone coming on the on the network who do not even have coins can start at least getting used to it, so that they go and buy more coins, right? So it's like a freemium model in the beginning for a certain number of transactions per account. And I think this allows us to even demonstrate that people who do not have the coins can still use the consensus, but at the same time, the more people coming in and using the freemium model, the whole ecosystem is built in a way that they stick into it, right? And that's what has taken time. So I think let's leverage two things. One is the freemium model and one is the ecosystem to make sure that people keep doing transactions.
Yeah, and I'll also add to that as well. So the other one that I didn't say before was the airdrop, right? So the airdrop will be emitted over the 4-month vesting period, similar to the public sale. And so anyone who's been participating in the airdrop up to date, you've been accumulating points, and we'll report on those later on in February in terms of so you can understand. And any points that also are accumulated through the new airdrop campaign, right? All of those points go towards issuing you a share of the airdrop tokens, which the airdrop tokens will be vested over the first 4 months. And so that's another way that you can get tokens within the ecosystem. I mean, I think everyone on this call probably has a bit of a head start because you understand the ecosystem. Go and do some swaps and earn some airdrop points. Some of you have already been doing those swaps as well and earning your points over December and January. So that's another way for you to acquire tokens within that first period to be able to use them, or you can purchase them.
Question around, is it possible or an option or a consideration even to be able to stake or provide liquidity even to the L1X app instead of having the cliff? So it'd still obviously be locked coins away from public, but would it be an applicable way to participate? Is that something that is a consideration or an option for the future?
This is the flip side, right? The contra to that is that there to provide, as also stimulate buy pressure for the value of the coin, right? For everyone involved, there an APR in the staking, an attractive APR in the staking is going to be important. Now, the more coins that we have on the staking, so 75 million coins from seed and private round, if that was staked, then that would disintegrate any of the buy pressure coming from staking because you would need to support the APR on all of those coins. So we did look at it, but once again, the decision has been made that it will impact the adoption phase in the early stages. If we did stake that and we had to provide, a lucrative APR for additional buy pressure, then the emissions would be massive coming out of that pool if we allowed staking. So no, the staking won't be there because to support the value of the system, through the staking and to have people utilize and want to go into that, then we also have to control the emissions we're giving out on the staking as well to make sure that they don't hinder the adoption phase by putting too much emissions out on the market in the early stages.
Yep, I'll just keep cracking on with these questions. In regards to the delay, does this mean that there is a good chance the mobile app will launch before MainNet?
I think majority of the Web3 users do it on desktop, and again, as the community itself mentioned, right, which is focusing on certain features and making sure that works. So if we go out with a mobile app, that may be a problem personally, through the foundation, but it doesn't stop anyone else from going and building an app and having the mobile based validation in that as well, because we do have the wallet SDK for iOS and Android, and that's why we built it, so that we don't have to build the mobile apps ourselves. And if there are people who are going to come and build with us, they can leverage the wallet SDK for iOS and Android, which is a part of the protocol. And this wallet SDK will make sure that the mobile nodes are also present with the applications using them.
Okay, perfect. And Spark, this is probably a good one for you. Can we get an elaboration on the starting market cap and the listing price? Now circulating supply has been drastically decreased.
Yeah. So the listing price will be, there's the listing price and then what you can buy the coin at, right? Because a listing price sometimes only lasts for seconds. So, but the listing price will be 50 cents. How long that lasts or whether you can buy at that point, that's up to the market. So, but the starting market cap, so I believe that the previous starting market cap was somewhere between 60 million, 55 million. The starting market cap will now be around the 22 million mark. So it's drastically reduced the circulating market cap at launch at day one. And yeah, the listing is 50 cents. If you can get it at 50 cents, good on you. But how long that lasts, that's up to the market. For those that have been in launches, if you try to get it listed price, you're lucky. But yeah, just a kind of simple answer to those questions. Listing price 50 cents, and then the other part of the question, which was the starting market cap as well, circulating market cap. So the circulating market cap is drastic. In fact, the circulating market cap now, because of the changes, is drastically lower over at least the first 6 to 12 months. Even the circulating market cap over 2 years is lower as well. But once again, I suppose that's an added benefit of the new tokenomics is the reduction in circulating market cap. However, the main reason for the emissions is to just allow more space for utility to grow on the chain. In terms of the nodes as well, in terms of the nodes, so we have increased the number of nodes, right? So as you go back in to XPerks, and just tell me if I'm wrong here, Kevin, but basically you'll be reset. If you've already gone through Platinum and claimed a node NFT, that will be reset. You'll go back in, and if you still want to go into Platinum and Gold, you can claim your node NFT again. Is that I don't want to, have I misspoken there, Kevin, or is that probably the way to do it?
No, I think, I think it's on track. The only thing over here I would say is that once you connect your wallet, you'll have to revert the transaction where another transaction will happen, because we can't do it on your behalf. So it's on a contract, so you'll revert it, and then once you select the destination, you have the option for the nodes as well. And we have increased the number of nodes so that the POX space focuses on people who can come and acquire the nodes as well. Yeah.
Just one point of clarity. People that have been buying the L1X coins through the app currently, that still counts as public sale now and will be vested with everybody else. Is that correct?
100%. Anyone buying the coins during the public sale have been buying the public sale coin.
Yeah, cool. So which is obviously that's right now. So technically that closes today, and then there'll be no more purchases after this point. So everybody that's purchased up until this point and obviously closing today, that is all falls under the public sale, which is vested. Please, no, we've done that one. Sorry, as I just scroll through, I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah, I'll look through too, see if I can.
I think we've how many nodes will there be available in total? I know that we've talked about what's released currently is 1,000. Is there a total amount, like full stop? Does it open up into infinite amounts over time? What's the time frame on that, and is it locked at so many?
Yeah. So just a bit of perspective on this. Building a blockchain is hard, right? I mean, but building a blockchain that can scale with interoperability is very hard. And certain times there are decisions that we need to make that can appear to be centralized. Now, what we have done is initially the decision was to have 600, right? 300 plus 300. And then once we got the feedback and the advice to start off with a minimum of 1,000 nodes, we have added 500 each more, so that's 1,600 nodes in total. Now, this is not a random number that we have calculated like, okay, what sounds good, let's round it up. But this is in tune with the number of transactions that are being expected from these kind of what we already have seen through swaps, but also when these new financial products or gaming or identity products are out there with the people. So just to make sure that even at the TGE, right? So if there are people who go and acquire nodes at the TGE, we are leaning towards the fact that we will let the node operators vote. So that what will happen over here is if there are people who buy L1X coin, let's say, or acquire L1X coins and go and stake into the node, 10 days before, or it can be, the fact that the node operators themselves go and start hosting the nodes 10 days before. We just want to make sure that there is enough decentralization in terms of voting when the TGE can be lifted up so that, it's not us sitting in the office, sitting and thinking, should we do this or not for the betterment of the foundation? But then the node operators with these numbers are decentralized so that the community also believes that it's not only us, but it's the node operators who have a larger vesting interest in the foundation, who have decided that, okay, the TGE should be happening now or the TGE should be postponed. So the 1,000 number is to make sure that the decentralization happens. The 1,600 is to make sure that the transactions can be processed now. We don't think that it should be more than 1,600, but if the transactions demand it and there is a problem with scalability, then that has to be increased. So I don't know, right? I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, but for now, I think 1,600 is the number. If the node operators think that we should increase it at TGE, then of course we will have to increase it.
Just some clarity, I think, for everyone. So the public sale ends today, and that means that you will not be able to buy any more L1X coins until launch in March, foreseeably. Just so everybody's aware, that's how it works. That you can't get it in the app, you can't top up your node, whatever. Like today is the last day, that's it, and then there'll be a gap in between when you'll be able to repurchase again. There just seems to be some confusion in the chat. Am I expressing that correctly, Spark, Kevin? That's correct?
I think Look, I kind of think that the buy process of the public sale is specific to experts, right? There will be a pause for a few days. We have to update the foundation and the app.com website. I'm not sure if we can do that today or it can happen in the next 3 to 4 days because we already have a list of dev work that's going on. So if it's not taken down today, it will be taken down sometime, let's say Monday, Tuesday next week. But anyways, after that, let's say, if there are node operators and we feel that people need to go and acquire coins to stake it into the nodes or to make sure that there is enough node operators on the network, then we got to make sure that these coins go out to people who can acquire the nodes. Because to have a node, you need L1X coin. To need L1X coin, you need to acquire L1X coin. So maybe it's not specific to the buy process, but it's specific to going and acquire a node, right? So we haven't made a decision up on that pretty firm. Once we have a decision on that, we will go out there and give it out to you guys.
Can I claim an ELN NFT expert today? Yes, I believe that is the case. I know people have already been doing it, so I can confirm that.
Yeah, look, I'd just say to this, guys, like, just so you know, we're going to need to reset the experts. So while you may be interacting with the experts, it'll be reset. You're going to have to interact with it again. So yeah, just a heads up. You could be interacting with the experts. We will close it off soon, right? To close it down and then so we can then work on the development to reset it. So interacting with the experts at the moment is just another step where you'll have to go back through again.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I think there are two types of users in there, right? So one who have already gone in and done the process and one who have not done it. Now, I recommend don't go in there yet, right? So once we update the experts, we are going to make those changes as well. So once we update those experts, then you can go in and start acquiring the nodes as well. We will release more information on this. If you do it right now as well, you will have to revert your transaction and do it again. But at the very same time, if you have already done it, your spot will be reserved. That means we will not give away that node to someone else. So if you do it right now, you will have to revert, but you will have that node available for you. No, because there are people who have gone in and got nodes, and we need to adhere to that so that even if new people are going to come in, they will only get what is remaining, not from the ones that have already been promised to people.
Yep, makes sense. Nodes that are onboarding on in the PoX phase, do you use testnet coins or L1X coins that we own from vesting, etc.?
Yeah, so at this particular stage in the PoX phase, we will allow all the people who come in and acquire L1X coins and nodes they will be allowed a window where they will be able to go in and host their nodes, and only after that is setting up your node. So once the TGE happens, the node operators come in, vote, okay, the TGE should happen. The TGE happens and the transactions being processed are in L1X coins. These are the rewards that they will be getting. So until the TGE does not happen, the node operators are not going to get any coins, because that's what we are trying to build up. That is why we are trying to push that people go and acquire the coins to get the nodes so that we can reach the 1,000 number to get the decentralization that is a checkbox for so many things that we want to do.
Yeah. Just scrolling through here. Spark, can you is there anything you're seeing? I just one at the very bottom. I'll ask while you're searching. Is the second 500k giveaway still in effect?
So basically with the new airdrop details, the second one will not be in effect, but we will be releasing the new airdrop details when the new airdrop campaigns rolls out in February.
And I think this is something that we can ask the community members, right? Because Of course, we believe that we shouldn't do the second one. We will do the first one on Friday. But if you guys think that we should go ahead for the second one, then let's create a strategy to give away these 500 coins in alignment with the POX space, which is increasing the number of nodes. So do we do this among node operators? Do we do this among people who are ready to stake in the nodes? Some strategy behind that.
So yeah, this question: if everybody's money is locked for the first 4 months and the only ones with coins is the foundation / the team, does the foundation plan to sell any of the allocation of coins in the first 4 months?
I think what coins are available with the foundation are specific to the pools, so we can't go out there and sell that. No, I don't think so. That's going to happen. Not under my watch.
And look, this goes back to probably what we've been saying the whole time, is that the decisions we make are always for the long-term value of the protocol community, right? It's not like, and I think going back to exactly what Kevin said, we're here for the long term. This is not a rug pull, right? We want to build something, and we started, and Kevin and the team are building something that can have a massive impact in blockchain and crypto, right? So our long-term focus is always there. And so, this is not a cash grab for us. This is a project. This is something that can have real impact. Also, I did see a question there as well. I think it was Nedix. Will everyday users be able to interact with dApps on the testnet, or will it be a developer-only environment?
Good question. I think I appreciate such questions. Yes, you will be able to interact. And, of course, like the swap that you are currently using, the new product that is the multi-chain balancer pool, or the gaming, or the space cards with the identity stuff, you will be able to interact. And this is not a testnet, put it this way. This is a POX space. And the difference between that, I think the community and everyone needs to understand, is there is a testnet that we had from August until now. This is the POX space where we are trying to increase the number of nodes, increase the number of transactions from the consensus perspective as well. Then there is a unlock, which is the TGE and the mainnet. That is, everyone can come in, and there is no restriction on the token transfer. So this is a POX space which is designed to strengthen the ecosystem, and it's no different than any other layer ones out there. Everyone has this cycle. So I think it's a tried and tested model. So, let's stick to what the POX space means. It's a testnet in a way that it's designed to increase the strength of the network.
Yeah, and I think this is not answering to any question, but I think what everyone can have faith in, right, is that the tech is there, right? The tech is unique. The tech is novel. No one else has this tech, and for us to be able to create adoption around, to be a first mover on this technology, and for us to be able to create adoption around this technology, so as a first mover, we can get the adoption. We get that adoption. That's the really important thing, because when we look at the tech, we know, no one knows the tech better than Kevin, and Mike and I, we probably know the tech second best, but it's probably only half of what Kevin knows, because he's the builder, right? He's the creator. But from what we know and what we see within the tech, this is unique, right? This is what, whatever change we've made, the tech is, I suppose my point is, the tech is there. The tech is unique. The tech works. And as a first mover on this tech, adoption is key. If we can, because technology is only as good as its adoption, right? So if we can get this adoption through pre-TGE, post-TGE of this revolutionary tech as a first mover, that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do, and we want to do that for years to come.
Yeah, and I think, just on that, right? I am not, here to come out there in the community and pump up the community in a way that I hide the tech behind that persona, because we have seen a lot of projects do that, where there is a public face trying to pump it up. And if you look at the numbers, majority of the people in those projects lose money, right? And very few actually make money out of it. And my voice is you guys, the community, because I am busy building the tech. So if you guys don't do your job, then we won't have a team. Because if I need to leave the dev and start coming and speaking and creating a persona that come and, you know, be on socials more than I am trying to build this, then the tech won't be there. So I think we just need to divide and conquer, which is you guys do your job by making sure that you trust this now that you are into it. We are in this for the long run. It's like a marriage, right? You don't want the marriage to fail, but there are hiccups that come through and you have to solve those problems rather than leaving and criticizing. So let's just work together. Let me do my job. And we have, a few weeks for the TGE. Let's just join hands and, be at our strongest at this particular situation.
Yeah, 100%. And look, it is a marriage, and can I just say, Chief is a terrible wife.
The spandex doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, I think somebody actually came into the office yesterday. God, go and tell them, Spark, tell them.
Yeah, okay. So this is shout out to Jake, who came into the office yesterday, and he dropped off 3 Power Ranger outfits, one for Kevin, one for Chief, and one for Kryptonaut. So if you want
I think I haven't showered for like 3 days. I'm sitting in my home office and working, so I don't want to go to the office like that. I'm planning to come in on Friday after having a shower, but I've been continuously on the court for the last 3 days. So hopefully I'll wear the Power Ranger suit when I come in.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Okay, well, one more question before we just send off into wildness that is the Power Ranger suits. Competition rewards, how are they vested? For all things that are given out, whether it's yearly or anything like that, are they vested the same as the public sale?
No, so airdrops are vested the same as the public sale. Competition, the competition rewards. So so airdrop, so competition. So the 10,000 a day, the airdrops, they're all vested with the public sale. The 500,000 is put into platinum. The referral rewards. What is the other one? Referral rewards will be vested with the XPEX bonuses.
Yeah, and other ones like Discord comps and everything like that, I assume would be vested with the public sale as well.
Discord comps, yes, yeah. Sorry, I hadn't even thought of Discord. Yes, either public sale or XPEX bonuses, but I'll confirm that. I'll confirm that with you guys.
Yeah, perfect. Let me just read this one. I think we've covered a lot of the stuff. I realise that we've gone into 90 minutes in here. We can always collate a group of questions if we're getting very specific ones and repeatable questions. Again, we can always take that and then make a FAQ about it. Like I said, I think we've got a lot of questions answered. We've got a lot of things covered across, and I think a good overview of all of the specific changes. Obviously, it's been a pretty hectic couple of days for everybody, of course, the community, the team, especially the community staffing as well. So just a huge shout out to everybody on every front. I think it's, dealing in these situations on any perspective, whether you're an investor, whether you're the team, the back-end team, whether you're the front-end team, it's a big task all around. So thanks everybody for having the patience with us in the front end as well, knowing that it's either late at night or early morning, or people have been awake for 3 days, things like that. And thanks for having the patience with how the things are being built out, to know that what we want from this protocol and what we want for the future is obviously the very best in advancement. So once again, thanks for everybody for being here. We appreciate you. We see your questions, we see your concerns and frustrations, and obviously know that everybody has the right vision, that we're going forward in the right direction to get the best result. But yeah, any closing statements, wrap-ups from any of you guys? Just like I said, I want to close this out and keep it in a timely manner so it doesn't drag on.
Yeah, I think I need to point this out, 2 things. And this will go a long way as well, which is, number one, look, my mind is engineered not to bother about anyone or anything when I am behind a task. And I think that's good and bad at the same time, right? It's not like I am not emotional, but I can't afford to be emotional in the position I am in. And but the team that we have, they read your comments, they read your messages, and they are pretty strong. But at times, you have to understand that these things can impact a person's mind when you send messages in Discord. So if you don't let the team focus on the objectives, and if they are thinking about, because they feel for you, and if they think about this, the community, why are they not seeing the hard work that we are trying to put in, these things can consume a person's mind. So I would request that do not send messages that you think may impact the team's mind. If you have a valid question, please send it. We'll come on the AMA and answer that as much as we can, right? But please keep it objective, right? And on the other hand, the team has not been paid in fiat. They are being paid in L1X coins. And I am very proud of this fact. So you have to understand the level of commitment that the team has for this, right? And if we really wanted to, just focus on the fact that let's get done with this, we would have done the TGE right now. The team and myself would have sold out, and the community members would be left high and dry. Why? Because we control the blockchain. I'm not scared of saying this, right? All it takes me is to blacklist your wallet address, and I can do that sitting down on my computer. But we have not decided to do that because we want more nodes, we want more decentralization, and we want to make sure that the team, the community members, everyone gets it. I'll be the last one to cash out. So please make sure that you be respectful in your comments and respect the level of dedication the team has been putting. And you've been an awesome community. So please do your job and let me do my job for the next few weeks, and let's make this happen.
Just from me, guys, I think, I think from my perspective as well, I think we've been like with the community for so long. A lot of us just consider you part of the team, to be honest with you. So when we're making a decision, any decision, I think there's always and when I talk team, I'm not just talking the internal team, I'm talking the mods. I think you guys have done an amazing job as well, and will continue to do an amazing job. I think I'm talking community, and so I think, and I go back to what I said before, is that this is, and it always has been, unique technology, first mover tech. We can build something extraordinary here, and when I say we, I mean all of us. And as we move forward, together, there's some exciting times to come. There really is. I've got no doubt. And when I say times to come, I'm talking months, years. So there's, and because that's our mindset. And I suppose, but going back to what can the community members that really want to participate and help out in the PoX phase, spread the word when we open up the airdrops and the swaps, get people using them, once it's open, and look, I loved seeing the L1X story that people have put out. That was just fantastic. It warmed their hearts, right, to see that, guys. So I really appreciate it from that point of view. But this is a team effort, and when I say team, I mean internal team, mods, and community. So if we can all do whatever we can in terms of this phase, it's going to be a bright future. No.
I'll just add in there as well. Thanks, Spark and Kevin. I think some good points. Totally agree with the statement around the support that we're getting from all of our mods and the entire team, both internal and others around. Also, our partners, and I think they're really, really important. They're the ones that are actually building on the layer 2s and the projects onto L1X, and they're absolutely crucial. Our CEXs, they're crucial for us to move forward. Ultimately, the DEXs as well, not just L1 DEX, but all the other DEXs that we're looking at moving on to. All of those are going to build up the momentum that will come as we move to TGE. And we really need the community to look at that, look at our long-term vision. We do read all your comments. We may not get back to them all, but we try very, very hard. The amount of effort and, like I said earlier, the number of calls that we've been on and discussions and meetings with the team around the world and with our partners and with our projects and even the CXs, all of those, we take all of the feedback and we've got to process it all, and that takes a little bit of time. We've been able to pull that together just in a couple of weeks, and we try so very hard that the key here is we want L1X to be successful. So that needs community support. We want to grow the community. We've done a fantastic job. The team has grown that really, really well. But what our objective there is we want to grow it out to hundreds of thousands of users on Discord and on Twitter and all of that. That takes effort, not just from us, but from the entire community of promoting us.
Yeah, and I think just the last one, I think it's more important to get these nodes decentralized so that these decisions, about TGE or any upgrades can be made by the node validators. And I think that's a lot of responsibility on the team to make these kind of decisions. So having the nodes out there and making sure that this is decentralized is the best way forward for the community. And I think one more thing, I'm a very direct person when I comment, right? So I don't like to hide and say something. So if I have mentioned certain things that you think is pretty direct, it is what it is. I'm not going to change my words for that, because it's better for me to be direct than to hide and try to cover up my answers, because I don't have the time for that. And that's the only way we can have this kind of technology with the resources we have on hand. We can't have it one way or the other.
CryptoNord, do you want to? I know I love dragging you into stuff, CryptoNord. It's my favorite thing. I don't know if you're talking. I can't hear you. Okay, so I'm not sure if he's having technical issues or not, but yeah. So no,
He might be trying on his Power Ranger suit, maybe.
I'd believe that. I'd believe it. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The three Musketeers, full Power Ranger suits. Are you there now, CryptoNord? No, still nothing. So let's aim to wrap this up now. So once again, everybody, obviously, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the space. We appreciate having you here and obviously listening out and getting the answers direct as well, and taking the time to share any of the questions you had in the chat. We appreciate you guys being in the community. It is a big task. It is a big thing. We know there's plenty of work to do between now and the next phase. So here we come. PoX, let's make the next month or however long, month and a bit, the most successful possible. Let's get into the testnet, support the protocol, do the best we can, obviously, to make this the most successful, because it's not, it's not just the teams, it's not just the mods, it's not just the community, it's the community members as well. We're all part owners in the protocol, and it's our own efforts, it's our own success effectively. So once again, thanks everybody for being here. Let's wrap this now, and we will see you on the next one.